growing up in rather conservative UK in the 1980s, we never actually openly spoke about people who were gay. It was all assumed and nudge nudge wink wink, but never actually openly stated. One of the people who taught me my bar mitzvah portion, for example, we all knew he was gay, but nobody actually said it out loud. Nobody recognized him for who he was. It was just, he was him, and that was his thing. I remember family friends, in fact. There was one person who always had his special friend. And he would always travel around with his special friend. But nobody would actually say his partner, because that kind of thing wasn't spoken about. It wasn't spoken about openly, at least, in conservative UK in the 1980s. And we all thought at the time, I mean, I was young then, but we all thought at the time that was just what you do. You know, let people be gay if they wish, but actually we don't need to talk about it. And when I became a rabbi, it was very interesting. I started in Bournemouth Reform Synagogue, which was the most conservative of the Reform synagogues in the UK. And before I started there, the honorary life president at the time came up to me, and as I was looking at the community, and he fired some shots across my bows to see how I'd respond, and he said, welcome to our community. We're a very warm, welcoming, friendly community. We're also a conservative community, so we won't be taking the new Siddur because it's a militant American feminist pamphlet. And similarly, we tolerate people and include people who are gay, but they can do that in their own homes. And that was the moment where I thought, I have to work here. I have to work in this community because that's an appalling thing to say to a prospective rabbi. And it's appalling to come from the honorary life president, because that's what the community stood for. That wasn't warm, welcoming and friendly. It was warm, welcoming and friendly if you were straight and if you were conservative. Otherwise, do it elsewhere. We're not interested. And Reform Judaism, especially over the last 40, 50 years, has really been trying to be far more inclusive and has made huge strides, actually, in inclusivity. And the challenge of inclusivity is, of course, that we welcome everyone without putting people in boxes, without saying, well, you belong to this community, therefore you get this. You belong to this community, therefore we respond this way. And so I know sometimes people ask, well, why have a Pride Shabbat? Why isn't every Shabbat a welcoming, inclusive Shabbat? It is, of course. But I think for us, we need to undo the pain of the past. We need to turn around and say, yes, Judaism has in the past been expressed in ways that are extremely abusive of people in the LGBTQ plus community. People have used and abused our texts in ways to punish people for being gay, for being trans, for many different expressions of sexuality and identity. And they've used our texts to say, this is not okay. You can do it in your own homes, but don't do it here. And that's not okay. It's not okay for me as a rabbi. It's not okay for us as a movement. We firmly believe that everyone is created b'tselem Elohim, in the image of God. And therefore, everyone should be celebrated. So this Shabbat is our Pride Shabbat, where we openly state this is important to us. If you are members of the LGBTQ plus community, you are welcome. And added to that, we, other people who are not members of the LGBTQ plus community, are here as your allies. We are here to support you. We are here to celebrate you as being created in the image of God. So our Kabbalat Shabbat service tonight starts with Sangria at 5:45. This is something we do every summer. It's lovely. I have to be very careful how much I have before our service. And then at 6:30 we have our Pride Shabbat service. And I really encourage you to be here. I really encourage you to be here as an ally, as a support, or to be celebrated. Because we want to celebrate everyone for their unique gift. And so we're going to be sharing liturgy that's written by members of the LGBTQ plus community, some readings interspersed throughout our service. Some of our tunes will have been written by members of the LGBTQ plus community as well. There's a reading that I haven't put in tonight's service, but I wanted to include in my pre-Shabbat message today, because I want to include as many readings as possible. This is a reading by my friend Alden Solery. I've interviewed him on my Soul Searching show a couple of times. We've looked at some of his liturgy over the High Holy Days, and this is a lovely prayer poem that he's written. And this is my pre-Shabbat message for today. Love wins a pride prayer. One day, the words coming out will sound strange. Oppression based on gender or orientation will be a memory. History to honor and remember the pain of hiding, repressing, denying, honoring the triumphs of those who fought to be free, remembering the violence and vitriol that cost lives. When love wins at long last, V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, love your neighbor as yourself, will be as natural as breathing. V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. One day love will win every heart. Love will win every soul. Fear will vanish like smoke. And tenderness for all will fill our hearts. V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Love wins. In the end, love wins. Man for man, woman for woman, woman for man, man for woman. All genders, all orientations, all true expressions of heart. V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Let this come speedily in our day, a tribute to the many and the diverse gifts from heaven, a tribute to love, deep and true, each of us for one another. V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. So please join us for our Sangria at 5:45, for our Kabbalat Shabbat service, our Pride Shabbat service, and then tomorrow morning for our Torah study on Serach Bat Asher, and also for our Shabbat Shacharit service. And please put a note in your calendar for the first Shabbat of August, where we're going to be trying on the Shabbat morning service a conservative service, and I'll be telling you much more about that next week. It's very exciting. Please join us for a wonderful, love-filled Shabbat this evening. I hope to see you then, and wish you Shabbat Shalom.